Hello, my name's Tom Palmer and I'm a children's author and I'm the author of a book called Arctic Star, and I'm on board HMS Belfast, which is the setting of Arctic Star, my novel. It's a ship which sailed up into the Arctic during Christmas 1943, and here we've got the HMS Belfast cap, as you can see, which is what some of the sailors would have been wearing, and some other of their things. And this is my Christmas message really, and what I wanted to do was just wish you all a very happy Christmas. And obviously 2021 has been a really difficult year. It's been such a strange year, and I wanted to send you a message to say well done for everything you've done in your school, in your classrooms, and your teachers as well. I wanted to say well done for getting through a really tough year. I think you've done really well. And I wanted to read you this because there's a bit in this book which is a pretty tough Christmas as well for the sailors on board. And I just wanted to read it to you partly because it's a Christmas story in one of my books, but also because there's a Christmas message in here. You know how the Queen does a Queen's speech on Christmas Day? Well, part of this text is the King's speech that he made that year, and I think it's really poignant. And I wanted to read this to any schools that would like to listen to it. Anyway, here goes. The Arctic Ocean on board HMS Belfast, December the 25th, 1943. And then it was Christmas Day, the first one Frank would spend without his mum. It didn't feel great, and he knew she'd be missing him too, on her own at home. But he tried to comfort himself with the thought that surely the war would be over by next Christmas. If they did what they had to do, surely next year he and his mum would be together, celebrating. You had to think like that during wartime. Christmas dinner on the Arctic Ocean was a bully beef sandwich with some dried biscuits. Conditions were too rough for a proper feed, but they'd been promised a real Christmas dinner once the seas were quiet. And although he fancied some turkey, Frank was always happier when the seas were wild. HMS Belfast and its two sister cruisers were heading south now, having seen one convoy safely into Murmansk, but not docking themselves as they had to meet another convoy that was on its way north. The ship was at the second degree of readiness, one level below action stations. They knew something was coming. Danger, conflict, war. But not yet. For now, they needed to rest and be ready for something. Christmas Day or not. An hour to go until the late afternoon watch began. There was a crackle on the tubes and the captain's voice sounded. Some men were already on their feet. Was it time? Frank asked himself. Was this it? Action stations. The captain began by wishing them a Merry Christmas. And then he asked them to join in, listening to the King's Christmas message that he was going to relay to them live from home by radio. As the national anthem crackled over the ship's broadcast system, Frank stood as he had always been told to. Several men joined in, singing in low voices, looking at their feet or their hands. Then, after the music faded, the King's Christmas 1943 message began, his voice faltering, hesitating before going on.
And once again, from our home in England, and the Queen and I send our Christmas greetings and good wishes to each one of you all the world over. Some of you may hear me on board your ships, in your aircraft, or as you wait for battle in the jungles of the Pacific Islands or on the Italian peaks. Some of you may listen to me as you rest from your work, or as you lie sick or wounded in hospital. To many of you, my words will come as you sit in the quiet of your homes. But wherever you may be, that today, of all days in the year, your thoughts will be in distant places and your hearts with those you love. I hope that my words, spoken to them and to you, may be the bond that joins us all in one company for a few moments on this Christmas Day.
After the speech, the men turned to each other and shook hands, but no one spoke. Frank felt shattered, energised too. He was thinking about his mum, at home, alone, listening to the speech on the wireless. He knew that she would be thinking of him, listening to the speech too. In the quiet below decks, from one, two, then several places on the ship, they heard singing, floating up corridors and down ladders. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King, peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Christmas Day, 1943, as HMS Belfast ploughed on through the waves. And that is a chapter in the story that I wanted to read to you, because I think we're all about to celebrate Christmas, and being here, right here on HMS Belfast, where they would have heard the King's message as we have just heard, and his message about being away from people we love, not being able to see people we love, and there's some of that going on this year as well. I think it was a really poignant message, and I wanted to play that to you, and it's also part of the story, and that's, for me, really all I wanted to say, other than I really hope that you and your families have an excellent Christmas. I hope you get to see as many of your family as possible. The last couple of weeks at school are lovely and you get to do really nice things, and I hope you find lots of things to read over Christmas and whatever it might be. Anyway, a very happy Christmas from me and my family, and from HMS Belfast, which is now a museum on the River Thames, so you can actually come here and visit HMS Belfast. It's one of the Imperial War Museums in London. Anyway, thank you for watching, and a very Merry Christmas to you all.